Troops, good morning. It is Friday, the 3rd of May 2024, and it's a wet day here in the UK, and we're just out on the move, which leads me on to the third pillar or skill area of the Wellbeing Made Easy. One of the third chosen elements or pillars of health: move well, with a key word, well, because you can't move if you can't move well. There's no point getting on the move if you can't move well, because you're going to get hurt. So building on yesterday, which was the second pillar, which was sleep, talked about sleep and weight loss, how it's correlated together with lack of sleep. That leads to obesity, gaining weight, etc. And the one before that, we talked about relaxing well, switching over the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system, the calm, relax state. And then today we're going to talk about a quick overview on moving well. So if we look at the UK, for those of you who are in the UK, I don't know about internationally, maybe internationally as well this, but the government recommend the health guidelines is to do a minimum, not a maximum, of 150 minutes of physical activity. Talk about definitions in a second. Per week, which equates to 2.5 hours. That is it. And if you work out how many hours there is, how many hours there is in a week, which I don't know, lots. So only 2.5 hours, 150 minutes per week to keep moving. Now, it doesn't really matter what you call physical activity, if it's movement, physical activity, fitness, exercise, all the same thing. What is it? It's moving. Yeah, that's what it is. And we know lots of the benefits of why we need to move. Getting the blood pumping from feet to head, head to toe, getting off of our desks, getting off of our chairs, getting out of our pits and moving. And we're constantly these days, and Kelly Starrett talks about this. Kelly Starrett out in the States is a physical therapist expert. He's got a few books out. One is Becoming a Supple Leopard. I've not actually read. He's got a new one called Built to Move, 21-day challenge, really good. Talk a little bit about that. He's got another one called Desk Bound, which is really good visual of the posture, the human anatomy, how we have become desk bound. Now you can get these books probably from a library for free or cheap online, and it's really fascinating. So, and lots of people are talking about sedentaryism, which is not moving, is the new smoking, which sounds fairly true, to be honest, because all you've got to do is work out in a 24-hour day. We've all got 24 hours in a day, the same in my world anyway. So how much time are you sleeping, laid in your pits? How much time are you sat down? And that, as soon as you get up in the morning, you sit down. Depends what you're doing. If you're scrolling, then you eat. If you're having breakfast, you then sat down eating. We're not expected to stand up eating. And then we're on the commuter belt. Now some of you may be working from home, some of you may be commuting, planes, trains, automobiles. So you sat down, maybe 30 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes longer for some. Get to the office, and then we sit at a desk, organise ourselves. So I sat down, turn on the devices, and then we sat down. And then off we go into the day, carrying on doing what we're doing. And then we might get off now and again to go to the toilet, the bathroom, top up our water bottle, maybe do a little bit of photocopying, and that's pretty much it. And we're sat down, and we might do that a few times, unless you're actively, intentionally focused on moving, which we'll come on to in a second. And then we reverse it. We get on the commuter belt, get in the car, get on the trains, reverse back. We get home, we sit down, we then start catching up on, here we go, we've got somebody cutting the hedges now. That's a quiet one, it's not a leaf blower. So we get home, we sit down, we catch up on social media, pings, dings and rings, because we're all important. We think we're running countries sometimes, and we need to get back to somebody, because we need that daily dose, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. We need to feel that we need to get back to people, because we haven't got back to them for a couple of hours, and this is the state we've got ourselves into. You know, and we get that comment back, a thanks or a like or a thumbs up, and we're empowered. And then yes, we've done our bit, we've served the other person, and we'll talk more about this on in a couple of days. I'm going to talk about the connection, the fifth pillar. So tomorrow we'll talk about nutritious food and eating, which is the eat well, which is the fourth pillar, and then the day after we'll talk about connecting with others, and how we're lost the connectivity with, and deep, meaningful, personal, eyeball to eyeball, belly to belly conversations and connections with people. So we get back to people because we have to. Then we're having our dinner, evening meal. So we sat down, and then we're Netflix binging, winding down, and it's normally with drinking something we shouldn't really be, but we do, eating extra because we're in a routine, and we repeat the cycle over and over again. And then we store excess weight because we're overeating, and with all the foods, we'll talk about all the ultra processed foods and all the way it's modified with food scientists these days. And it plays around with the neurochemistry, neuromodulators in the brain, and tell us we're not hungry and we need to eat more and more and more. And that's once you pop, you can't stop. Try eating a bag of a couple of Doritos, or one or two Jaffa cakes, or one ready meal, half a ready meal, half a pizza. It's just not done, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. So yeah, so how much time are you not moving is the exercise. How much time are you not moving? And it's really interesting exercise to do. And I thought I'd share that with you so you can start working that out of your 24-hour day. So start there. First question: how much time are you moving in 24 hours? Or you could do it the other way: how much time are you sat down, laid down, and work it out that way? And then the second question is, towards the 150 minutes, how much time, how far am I off? Am I doing more? And that is a minimum, not a maximum, okay? And we'll talk more about this next week. We'll go into it a little bit more, types of exercise and how to break that down. but just as a quick overview, types of exercises: endurance, cardiovascular, strength training, flexibility. We'll talk a little bit more about this when we come back round to this topic. And there's different ways you can do it. You can play around with intensity, and we'll talk a little bit about zone 2 cardio. Peter Attia's work, Dr. Peter Attia, talks about zone 2 cardio, and we'll talk more about this. But if you are going too hard at exercise all the time, you'll be burning sugar and not fat. So what we need to be doing is slowing down to burn fat. And if we're overkilling it, overcaking it, and it's a fine line between zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5 cardio, and we want to talk about that. If you picture a pyramid, zone 1 at the bottom, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5 at the top, which you can't route. That's your efforts, that's your sprints, that's your intervals. And at the top end, you can only really, according to Attia, you can only sort of do that for 3 to 8 minutes and sustain that before you're depleted, hence your efforts and your reps. And you've got aerobic, anaerobic. So at the bottom of the triangle, if you like, the pyramid, you've got aerobic, which is, I remember it, aerobic, one word, oxygen. And then anaerobic, 2 words, no oxygen, as in you're blowing. And what we want to be doing to lose some body fat and lose some weight is not following the move more and eat less. Definitely not. This is a January the 1st exercise, National Weight Loss Day, where we do that, because that's what we've heard. It's all about diet, it's all about fitness. It's completely not. We're not telling people about the gut microbiome. We're not telling people how to reduce the stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, and lots more. It's more complex. And we've been doing that for 30-40 years. And a great question from Professor Tim Spector, Dr. and Professor Tim Spector. Does exercise help you lose weight? Well, we've been following this model for 30-40 years, and not many people actually do it. They go on a diet, they cut everything back, and then they gain the weight and more back. So that's why dieting doesn't work, and that's why you see very strong, fit, but also fat bodybuilders. Massive guts, and just one on that, I listened to another podcast yesterday on the back of me talking about Ozempic, the weight loss injection. Listening with Dave Aspie as I ran into work yesterday, and just a little bit of additional information. It's quite interesting, as some doctors talking about Ozempic, which is the new weight loss injection, which is made for diabetes, but now people are using it to extend life and lose the weight. But what it's doing is, yes, it's making you all the weight drop and you're looking very gaunt. But what it's doing is, yes, it might be an interim measure to get the weight off, to save you, having life-changing interventions, even though that is a life-changing intervention. But the problem is, if you're on it sort of a long term, then you're going to be losing muscle and bone tissue. And that's what you don't want to do. So yes, for weight loss, but definitely not for muscle and bone. You start losing muscle atrophy, sarcopenia, muscle wastage, muscle tissue, then you're going to die early. Basically, you're going to stop moving, and then you're going to be having falls, and then you're going to be dying early. Bold statement, I know. So you've got to be careful, but it's just quite interesting listening to a little bit more. And they were saying somebody who, a bodybuilder, for example, who is really strong, really consciously focused on maintaining and building muscle, will it work for bodybuilders? Will it be good for bodybuilders? And the answer is probably yes, because they are primarily focused on maintaining and building muscle. So if they're building the muscle still and maintaining the muscle, and they take the drug Ozempic, then they're going to lose the weight and shred, if you like, whilst maintaining muscle, and that's a benefit to them. for the amount of effort and calories they consume. So how much time are you not moving in your 24 hours? How much time are you moving? And how much activity are you doing towards the 150 minutes? Let us know how you get on. Drop us a DM, which is a really good, useful exercise. And there's lots of different things you can do. And a little thing you can do is set yourself a little mantra, a little rule, a little goal. Moving every 30 minutes, 30, okay? So little things like moving your water bottle to the other side of the room, or having less water in a bottle, so you've got to fill it up more often. To move every 30 minutes, set a reminder. Pings, dings or rings going off, I don't like that. I drink my water bottle, and then I'm conditioned now to keep drinking. So I'm in a routine. You could use the upstairs toilet, use the downstairs toilet. If you're on an office block, go for a walk around the desk, or just take an intentional 30-minute walk, at lunch, get off your desk, or take some walking calls if you've got decent connection, okay? It's 2024 today, so why don't you get out and start moving more and taking calls on the move, getting some fresh air in your lungs, oxygenation, getting some blood circulating from head to toe. It sets you up. That's why I like to do it, and it's one of the reasons why I've started to document what I'm doing as I sort of learn this thing called a vlog and video podcast. Obviously it's the weather's raining. It's just started raining now, and when the wind is howling in this British weather, it's very hard to try to speak and walk at the same time because the sound and the weather. So it's not ideal, but I wanted to multitask, clear my brain, get the oxygenation in the brain and the body, and then just talk authentically from the heart and the mind, while I've got a nice fresh start to each morning. It's not always been practical or possible. I've not known what to say and what I wanted to cover. I've tried it with a little bit of a script that I talk about on the first few episodes, tried to stage what I'm doing, a little post-it note stuck behind my camera, and then I've had to do an episode driving in the car, hands-free, safe by the way. I've had to do one on the bike when I've done a recce to work, my new job I've just started a couple of weeks in. I've done one on the foot, on move, running, etc. It's not to impress, it's just how life is coming at me on those times. But I've decided to show up 365 days for you and for me, for accountability, and just sharing some golden nuggets and some gems. And now in May, third day in today of May, Friday the 3rd of May, this is the third episode. I'm talking about content specific, about moving well. Like I say, so the 5 chosen pillars that I've decided to package and talk about in the Wellbeing Made Easy school community is relaxing well, then you can sleep well, then you can move well, and then you can eat well. So I'll get back, have my breakfast, talk about that tomorrow. And then I need to connect well, okay? And those are the pillars I've chosen. There could be more. There could be mindset, there could be learning and growing, etc., which is all going to be mapped in and built in. But I wanted to keep it really nice and easy, and I wanted to be able to show my hand. For those who are not watching this, they're listening. I'm holding up my 5 fingers out to the camera as I'm walking around in the rain. And I can just talk off of my 5, keeping it simple. And I don't want anything more 6 too many, 7's too many, and you're never ending. And then I call it skill area, skills, because it's skills we've stopped doing, and it is a skill. Yeah, walking, or moving is a skill. Okay, so those who can't walk, who've had to relearn to walk because they've become paralysed, they've had an accident, they've gone over on their ankle, they can't walk, they've had to relearn, re-educate the neurons to walk, okay, if you've ever had physiotherapy, etc. So it's a skill, yeah, and eating's a skill. We need to be taking a breath, slowing down the fight and flight system. Talked about this 2 episodes ago, go back and have a listen, and it is a skill. So that's why I've called it skills, and I do like it, but I'll be flitting in my language between pillars of health and skill areas until I've got it completely packaged. So moving well, how much time you're moving, and it shows on in the book called Desk Bound. It's got lots of pictures in there, lots of visuals of somebody sat at a desk, and it just shows the hot spots, the negative hot spots on the visual, on parts of the anatomy, which is the skull, the back of the neck, the gastro, the organs, because we are sat folded in half into a C shape all the time. If you look at the position as you're sat, probably now listening to this, if you're driving, hopefully you're not watching this when you're driving. Please don't watch while you're driving, or you sat down now watching or listening, unless you're out on the move. Well done, ticking that box. And all the organs are condensed, they're folded in half, and we eat, and it's very hard for the circulation to go from head to toe and absorb all the nutrients, etc. So, and we want to be moving. So set yourself a little goal, move 30 minutes every 30 minutes, okay? Get out in the morning. There's lots of powerful research and a lot of successes, the titans of industry, pop stars, mega stars, gold medalists, successful billionaires, that get up first thing early in the morning, get out, crack the day, having a morning ritual routine, really sort of wins the day while everyone's still having their Cocoa Pops. You can get up and smash the day. Obviously, if you're getting up early, you only need to get up 15 minutes early. If you listen to the Tiny Habits BJ Fogg model that I drew, there's a video on that as well. Go back, see Tiny Habits. And I talked about you've got no time, but you want to hydrate, you want to sleep better, you want to get up a little bit early, and you want to do some exercise 5 minutes. I talked about a quick get up 15 minutes early, go to bed 15 minutes early, and then, you know, set a glass out next to the kettle. The kettle is the trigger. Then that triggers you to top the water up from the fridge, and you put some music on, do 5 minutes worth of body weight resistance, running on the spot, press up, sit ups, burpees, repeat that 5 or 6 minutes, tea bags in the kettle, it's brewed, you're ready, and the reward is the hot drink. Talked about that, keeping the habits really tiny, that compound over time, and within a few weeks, it won't take you much to get into a new health routine. Yeah, so go back and make sure you listen to that, and that's going to help you as well. So yeah, moving well, and again, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. You can, if you want, class housework to, you know, especially if you're doing your steps or you're working out, you've got a tracker on there, and how many calories you're burning, etc. I don't really focus on calories myself. I don't really work out macros and calories and all that sort of stuff. Don't weigh stuff, but I'm not on a weight loss. I like to keep my body fat fairly low. Makes me feel good, look good, etc. But I'm a runner by trade. Not anything special. I do a little bit of running now and again, keep the heart and lungs going, keeps the mind and the body connected. And also on the movement side, since we've had these cushions on the bottom of our trainers, like DFS sofas, we've started to lose the neuron connection in the feet to the brain, and we've become disconnected from foot to brain, and the sensors and the neurons in the feet are starting to switch off, and we're becoming weaker, and then we're having more sort of musculoskeletal injuries because our feet are so comfortable. And that's why you want sort of minimalistic footwear, close to barefoot as possible. I'm not telling you to go get some barefoot neutral and start running in them. Do not change your biomechanics suddenly, too much too soon. So if you strike the floor with your heel, then don't try to attempt to start striking the ground with your toe. What you need to be doing is progressively over time. And I've got a friend of mine who told me many years ago that when the Vibram 5 fingers came out, which is like toe socks, like glove type footwear by Vibram, which is the sole, he went and got some of them, started running in them within a few weeks, blew his calves, and then he pretty much couldn't walk, couldn't run for 2 years. So the transition's got to be easy, you've got to break things in. And if you're coming away from sort of your normal trainers, then you need to be going neutral. Be careful if you've got orthotics in there. I used to have orthotics when I first joined the army, and I had them for about 10 years. I had a throbbing pain on my knee with carrying lots of heavy weight. I had a knee pain on the outside of my knee. Long story, I had orthotics for 10 years, and then I was getting annoyed and frustrated. Every time I moved around, I had to go see a new podiatrist, get a new set of insoles, created, and some were good, some were bad. I only got 2 pairs. I had to wash a pair. I had a pair for marching, I had a pair for trainers. So I just thought, let me stop them. Started taking a few omega-3s, which we'll talk about, and touch wood. 15, 18 years now, I've not had orthotics in, no problems, touch wood, okay. So just be careful, but we want to be getting close to barefooted as you can. In the UK, it's not really practical or possible on the streets of the UK, but I walk sort of barefoot when I can in the house, so that's connecting the neurons. I go do some barefooted running now and again on a safe, clean, grassed area, a couple of times a week, running around. Make sure it's safe, make sure there's no sharp objects. It's a risk, obviously, and I try to get minimalistic footwear, and I will be going to Vivo Barefoot. So I went to the shop in London to try some on to get my size in, so I'm just looking to get some money together so I can get some Vivo Barefoots, and these are like your paddleboard type, aquatic type water sport shoes that you can get from sort of Decathlon for £10-15. No base to them, all just a bit of rubber, and you can roll them up and put them in your pocket. Minimal support, and by not having too much support in the ankles, it's not protecting, which is not switching off the neurons. And what you want to do is keep the neurons firing, because neurons that fire together wire together, or neurons that wire together fire together. So we want to keep that constant firing going. So there's just a little bit to get you thinking about. So Kelly Starrett, I'll link that into the show notes. So make sure before you're cranking up your exercise and your movement, okay, then make sure you move well first. No point if you've got a limp, you've got a bad knee, and you start cranking up, listening to this, and start ramping up the exercise, because you've got to move more. Do it nice and easily, progressively. Like me this week, I've started to, first week actually off, not on course, not using the car. So I've done 3 or 4 cycles, which is taking its toll. And I've done 2 or 3 runs, 6 miles. So I've probably ran about 18 to 20 mile, more than I've done in a long time. And it's started to take its toll. So today I'm going to use the car, and really no exercise over the weekend, apart from taking my weight management class and doing the walk for the pods. But that's pretty much it. Nice and easy, slow and steady wins the race. And just on the exercise part, I wouldn't focus on just doing household chores for your movement, okay? Because you'll start just becoming accustomed to the hoover, and you'll keep hoovering, and you know that is moving, but I would not use that as one of your indicators. So I hope that helps. Get moving, do some more movement, get some oxygenation in the system, feel better, and then we'll build more as we go through the pods. So apart from that, what is one thing you can take away from today that you can implement in your life straight away, and who is one person you can share it with so they can benefit? Because when we share things, we know it's caring, it's teaching them, it's teaching you, and you can retain the information. So have a cracking weekend, everybody, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Over and out.